What is up, everybody? Welcome back to From the Crypt, where Derek and we discuss a whole slew of different topics. We talk about movies, we talk about music, we talk about games. Derek does his own movie reviews on the side, and we just like talking about the entertainment industry as a whole. Whether that be for better or worse, that is for you to decide. We just bring you our opinions, and of course we try to keep things as factual as possible. But in today's very special episode, we're going to be bringing it back to a an opinionated topic instead. Of course, we'll give you some facts about these movies as well. And if you didn't know already by the title of this film, we're going to be talking about our top five favorite movies of all time. And by our top five, I mean not collectively, but my top five and Derek's top five. We have separate lists. We have different opinions. Surprise, surprise. And that's just something that we all need to keep in mind going forward. These are opinionated. These are our favorite movies. Of course, we would love to know about your favorite movies down in the comments below. But these are our lists. Feel free to agree and disagree with them as much as you want. And this is a special episode because we have been doing From the Crypt for how long, Derek?
One day.
One whole day. We are one day old. 50 something episodes and countless reviews in one day. We are a machine of a YouTube channel.
And we're at like 107 subscribers now too, so
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, we all jokes aside, we've been doing this for a year. A
yeah.
little over a year, honestly. I'm pretty sure it's been a little over a year.
Yeah.
So
I can't remember for sure.
one way or another, happy birthday From the Crypt. And here's to many more, hopefully. The entertainment industry is always either booming or disappointing greatly, so we've always got stuff to talk about on a channel like this.
Who's giving the spanking?
Yep, exactly. And I think Derek's going to get the spanking on this one.
Yes.
I'll take the one next year, but you'll have to spank me twice as hard because it's second year next year.
And you get two.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, but before we get started, Derek, how you been? I haven't fucking talked to you in like 3 years. What the fuck's going on, man? What have you been up to? Other than Diablo, of course, but have you been watching
Yeah.
anything? Playing movie or playing
Uh,
any new music or anything?
well, I think by the time this comes out, I will already have recorded a review for the Doc of Chucky that was just released onto Shudder. 5-hour documentary.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, and then I got to watch VHS Beyond tonight, and then hopefully record a review for it because I've already started it. Diablo 4 is consuming me. I'm not even joking. My time played on there, like up until like when Silent Hill 2 came out, I had like 2 hours of playtime on my PlayStation from July to October. I have logged like 85 hours into Diablo 4 just in like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Um, I love it. I'm having fun with it.
My buddy Matt's been, or well, my buddy Matt was like no lifing it since the release, and he's got like 900 hours logged or some shit.
Yeah, it's
I'm
easy to
like,
do because
dude.
there's so much shit to do. Like right now, I'm in the process of doing pit runs and leveling up my glyphs. I'm also masterworking armor and stuff, so I'm running infernal hordes and nightmare dungeons to get the obusite. So that way I have the currency because every other currency in the game I'm good for because I didn't do shit with any of it
Yeah.
until I hit like Paragon level 60. But yeah, there's always something to do in there. Music wise, God, what new As I Lay Dying came out yesterday. It was good. Sorry, Toby. Uh, but
It's a sore
the new
subject.
Lincoln, the new link. Well, I mean, it's a soap opera all on its own, which
Yeah.
we'll talked about later at some point.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
the new Lincoln Park, as I already told you, I don't like. Oh, it's a brand new chapter of Lincoln Park. No, it sounds like old Lincoln Park with somebody trying to be Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
That's it. Um, started listening to Worm Shepherd's new album last night, and then the music listening took a drastic turn because we went from Worm Shepherd to Peter, Paul, and Mary, listening to Puff the Magic Dragon because Jacob, I guess, learned about that in school. So, we can definitely stop on a fucking dime. And
Oh my god, dude, I love that. It's the same here, dude. We'll go from Lorna Shore and Worm Shepherd or whatever to fucking Danny Go or fucking
yeah,
super simple songs and shit. That's just how it is.
yeah.
Yep,
So,
it's
yeah,
good stuff.
been going good, I guess. What about you?
Yeah, no, I honestly could give a shit less about the new Linkin Park stuff. To be honest with you, like I'll probably give it a listen for the sake of it. But I know it's not making my top 5 list, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that where it is. I'll give it a listen, and maybe I'll just have a fucking epiphany. Who knows? But I'm gonna go ahead and doubt that. I don't think I'm gonna like it any better than I would their last couple albums, to be honest.
Yeah.
As I said to you, what's her face? Brittany, I think is her name. She's got a phenomenal voice.
Emily.
Emily, there you go. Emily's
Yeah.
got a phenomenal voice, and there's no denying that. But like, it's just not Linkin Park. To me, it's
Yeah.
just it feels like like you said, a cover band almost, because it just feels like Linkin Park with somebody trying to sound like Chester or someone trying to be Chester and so forth.
Yeah,
Um,
if they were trying to do something different, I could have like definitely gave this more of an open-minded view.
yeah,
But literally they are just trying to be like earlier era Linkin Park
they
with
should have
different
just
things.
started a new project. They should
Yeah,
just
like
titled it a new
if
project of whatever, just but
but if they would have done that, they would have lost all of this.
yeah,
So,
yeah, that's true.
yeah.
That's true. Like they need any more of that, to be honest. Linkin Park's still like they're still a big ass band. Even from their first 2 albums, they're still probably making money off of that shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that happened. And then of course the whole Scientology thing, her being involved in all that also didn't really help. Uh, so I don't
Yeah.
know. It is what it is. But as far as me listening to music, I just listened to the the new Worm Shepherd album, which is called Hunger, by the way. If you guys want to go check it out, I would highly recommend that. It is brutal.
Yeah.
Even the opening track is just like, which I'm pretty sure was one of the singles, is just nuts, dude. Oh my god, it just beats your chest in, and it just keeps going. It like no remorse whatsoever, and then the rest of the album's like that. He Who Breathes Fire.
I can't even
Jesus, dude, what are you guys doing, man? Like, it's
remember how
nuts,
far I got into the album
dude.
like last night.
You gotta reset and fucking peep that shit again, because it's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
I think I made it to Of Ruin and Banishment last night.
Yeah, it's the whole thing's phenomenal. I've been listening to it today too. I listened to it on my way back home from the photo shoot, and then I'll be listening to it on my way back for sure, because it's so good. Definitely a contender. I'm not gonna lie, it's a contender for my top 5. So,
Yeah, I still got spot number 5 to figure out, but 1 through 4 is set.
I I think mine, like for the most part, I have like 2 or 3 that are definitely on my top 5, but as far as the placement of any of them goes, they're pretty loose right now. Like I've got a couple, and I've got several honorable mentions, of course, but there's a couple that are just kind of floating around, and I don't really have a set spot for any of them just yet. And I'm only certain that 2 or 3 of them are for sure making my list. The rest of them are like, yeah, they're probably going to be on here, and these are probably going to be honorable mentions and so forth, but they're kind of floating. They're not like not any specific spot just yet. So that's it's cool. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, because last year I was like, was this worth putting in my top 5? No, probably not. But I need 5, so let's just put it in here, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just a shame.
Last year was so disappointing, and then this year it's been like an overflow almost of
Yeah,
good stuff, which is a problem that is good to have.
yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah,
I'd rather have that problem than the opposite.
Yeah. Oh, 10 times out of 10.
And that brings me to another thing. Not that I'm trying to stretch this on too much, but just 2024 has been a rough fucking year. Okay, I mean it's been a rough year for a lot of different reasons. Um, Obviously, the divisiveness of the community when it comes to the election. We've had so many like celebrity deaths this year. Tony Todd recently. That one hit different because not even a couple days later or before it happened, I had just watched Candyman, and I was just like, man. We got Maggie Smith, of course, passed away earlier this year. I mean, it's just a ton of like just hard shit, that has come with 2024. So the fact that we're at the very least, getting some solid music is cool. That's a good thing. It's a good silver lining for sure. Of course, we've had some pretty cool movies come out this year. We've had Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine, and we've also had Terrifier 3.
The Substance.
Yeah, we've had quite a few like pretty cool movies come out this year too, and that's also just something to look forward to. For anybody that's feeling down about 2024 being pretty rough. And then, of course, recently we just had the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight, which, in my opinion, was a big fucking letdown. So,
Well, like I said, I don't understand what people expected, because even if Jake Paul knocked out Mike Tyson, that it doesn't really mean anything, because Mike Tyson is old. Like,
yeah, and Jake's in
that
his
would be
fucking
like
prime, literally
yeah,
built like a brick shit house in his 20s.
that would be like me challenging Michael Jordan to a game of basketball when he's like 70 years old, and if I somehow won, which I still think I wouldn't, I'd be like, I beat Michael Jordan
Yeah,
when he was 70.
Derek. He's using a walker.
Yeah. No, like honestly, if Jake Paul wants to prove himself, he needs to get in the ring with somebody that is current and in their prime as well.
I'll be honest with you. I think this whole thing, aside from the fact that it was definitely about money, like we all know that it was just about money.
Oh yeah.
But I think aside from that, I think that this was a deal that Jake Paul had made with Mike Tyson under the table to to just satisfy himself. Because I think Jake in his head is arrogant enough to just be like, I'm going to do this for all the money and flash and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I just want to say deep down, I want to tell my grandkids that I fucking beat Mike Tyson in a boxing match, just for the sole sake of being able to say it. I think that's what this whole thing was about. And I mean, whatever. I'm power to him, I guess, because I haven't fought Mike Tyson, so whatever. But still, I don't know.
I'm still just I don't understand the accolade. If this would have been Mike Tyson in the 90s, perfect sense. But Mike Tyson in his like 50s or whatever, no. No.
Especially after he's been retired from boxing for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I had to get back into shape and everything. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. It means fucking nothing.
He collects pigeons and shit now, dude. he doesn't box anymore. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But anyway, that being said, hopefully the rest of the year continues to bring us some fucking phenomenal music and movies, and maybe, who knows, maybe we get some surprise releases from some people. Obviously, I'm not putting money on that, but it's cool. I always like surprise music, dropping and whatnot. But
all the new All That Remains could drop at any given, according to Phil.
Yep. And based on the fucking singles, I
Check out that new one.
but
that new one is good. I liked it right out of the gate. Yeah, the other ones, like, what was there?
I remember the first one was kind of cringe. The chorus is kind of cringe. I was like,
It's grown on me. Like, it's not in my top 10 by any means, but it's gotten better. Same with, I think it was Let You Go. No Tomorrow came out when we were in Vegas, and I remember listening to it, and I was like, God, this is fucking awful. No. But I think the new one's called Forever Cold, and I was like, okay, I actually like this one right out of the gate. So there is some life in this corpse.
Hell yeah. Well, hopefully the rest of the album slaps. I mean, I don't wish ill on any band. But I just think that it wasn't like, we've already talked about this. I don't think it was a very smart play for a band like All That Remains. And if any band's going to do it, All That Remains is not one of them. To just release an album on a whim, whenever. I love All That Remains. They hold a very special place in my heart, but like I don't hear enough people talking about All That Remains for them to justify releasing a fucking album with no date, no hype build. Just whenever we feel like it.
Yeah. Like Avenged could not do it. There is no way in hell that All Remains could do it.
Yeah.
Like, no, absolutely not.
Yep. But anyway, aside from that, basically all I've been doing is playing WoW, and I sadly sunk to the level of Call of Duty again because Kelby and Toby fucking coerced me into it. They fucking held a gun to my head and said, "Hey, you're gonna get this." But I'm gonna be honest with you, Zombies has been fun. It has been fun. I can't lie.
I tried to watch one of your videos I did, and I was like, I just don't like this game mode. I really don't. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
I was like, it's just boring to me.
It's weird to me too because I don't normally like stuff like that. I'm not really into shooters ever. I've never been into shooters, but Zombies fucks with me. I don't know what it is. I like Zombies. I like Warzone for the most part. But I mean, even still, I'm not gonna buy the game. I'm not gonna buy the game regardless. You know, it's gonna be fun playing it with Toby and Kelby and shit. You know, for my free trial and whatnot. But I'm not gonna buy it. I have lost so much faith in Call of Duty and so much faith in Activision. It pains me to know that Activision is still over Blizzard. Like that pains me so hard because one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game of all time, is a Blizzard title. And the fact that Activision has their fucking grubby little claws in the shit is just fucking so irritating, and it just drives me nuts. But that's on a different league. WoW is on a different league compared to Call of Duty for me. Like, I can't make the excuse for Call of Duty to be like, I'm having fun with the game, so I'm gonna buy it anyway. No. They've burnt that bridge with me a long time ago. And
it's the same fucking game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm not spending $70 on a game that you've released for the past 20 years.
Yeah, like
no.
Because
the graphics look better. But I'm gonna be honest, they don't look really too much better than they did the last game. So, come on, man. Fuck no. Especially when they're re-releasing old content as new features, like Gobblegums. We're bringing back Gobblegums, dude. You're the ones that took them away. No one asked you to take them away. You just did that anyway. And then fucking like slide canceling, for example, just a simple mechanic such as slide canceling. We're bringing back slide canceling. You shouldn't have fucking taken away to begin with, dumbass. Come on, dude. Like, whatever. Anyway, I'm not gonna rant about Call of Duty anymore. I can't. We're going to go ahead and get into this, Derek.
Yes.
We're doing top 5 favorite albums of all time.
Movies.
Oh, yeah. Movies. Sorry. Top 5 favorite albums of this year will be coming next month. Stay tuned for that.
I was going to say, movies! Damn it! Come on!
No. That was just a plug for the top 5 albums episode.
Hey, we should have a special guest, too.
We should have a special guest. We almost had one for this one, but he's on a weird schedule, so... he was not able to join us on this one.
Bitch.
Yeah, what a little bitch.
I just had to cough. I've been feeling sick lately.
No, I'm swinging at his ass. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, Toby. But let's go ahead and get into it. Derek, go ahead. Hit me with your number 5. What you got?
Okay. Number 5. Released July 18th, 2008. And is, in my opinion, the best superhero movie of all time. The Dark Knight.
Yep.
What is it? Your number 5?
No, but that was that's the one I was talking about. Like, it had to have been in your list.
I figured, yeah. No, Dark Knight is absolutely amazing. I love this freaking movie. Still... I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this because I already did kind of a little mini love letter to it when it turned 16 earlier this year. But this movie, I saw it in theaters 6 times. Still holds the record for me, like seeing a movie in theaters that
God
many
damn.
times. Yeah, 6 times. Tied with Anchorman. Great action, great direction. Christopher Nolan, like, doing his thing. You know, that trilogy with Batman Begins, Dark Knight obviously being the best, and then Dark Knight Rises is just ah, ah. Like, I feel this movie is responsible for pushing the superhero genre into better waters, I guess.
Mm.
Even though the waters have been very murky the last few
As of
years.
late, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying just Marvel because DC hasn't put out really anything that's worth a piss either. But at least we still have this one to fall back on. It is an all-time great. Honestly, if somebody wants to argue with me that this isn't the best movie or best superhero movie of all time, all I'm gonna say is bring it. You have no leg to stand on because this movie has something those others don't have. Heath Ledger as the Joker, just perfect. It doesn't need to be Mark Hamill from the animated series. It doesn't need to be Jack Nicholson. It's its own thing.
Yep.
And absolutely perfect. This like I should go ahead and say these all the movies in my top 5, they are 10s. They are 100% 10 out of 10s.
Yep.
And this, yeah, it is as well. But Dark Knight, number 5.
Yep. I could not agree more with you on pretty much every point you just made. So, but I have a feeling we're going to be talking about that here in a little bit again. So I will just go ahead with my number 5. Now, another thing to keep in mind when we're talking about our favorites, obviously these are personal to us. Anybody can go and look up top 5 grossing movies of all time to see which one obviously was which ones were the most successful. And that's just something you could Google. Obviously, you're not going to watch this video for that information. You just Google that real quick. So just keep that in mind. Some of mine were not successful, at least not initially. Well, I know one of them was not, but this one in particular, I think, was successful to a degree. But it was released July 11th, 2008, same as The Dark Knight. Not the same day, same year. And it was made with a $82.5 million budget and grossed box office was $168 million, so it was successful. However, not nearly as successful as some of the other ones that we're going to be talking about. It's directed by Guillermo del Toro, and that is Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
I actually saw this while I was waiting to go to the midnight showing of Dark Knight back in the day.
Nice. Yeah, they released the same year, which is wild because, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but this movie particularly was kind of hard to place here because I have a bunch of movies in my honorable mentions that a lot of people would probably be like, that should have been your number 5. Why is Hellboy 2? Like, there is movies in here that are like heavy hitters for just great movies all around. But I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I watch this movie more often than I care to admit. Okay, and I love Hellboy 1. But Hellboy 2, there's something about it that's just like, it's just comforting to me. Prince Nuada and his sister are just like a really cool dynamic. Obviously, the whole like feeling pain. If one of them is inflicted with pain, then the other one also feels it too, and so forth. And that coming back full circle in the end, of course. The comic relief, of course, with just Hellboy and Abe when they get drunk and whatnot is fucking phenomenal. And then watching Hellboy and Prince Nuada do a fight while he's drunk as fuck, that's just fun. That's fun stuff, you know? And Prince Nuada is probably one of my favorite villains in a hero-esque type movie that I've ever seen in my life. I love him. He's just such a fucking cool-ass villain. And every role in this movie was played perfectly by who played them. And I also want to give a shout-out to John Hurt because he will be brought up again in my list as well. But he plays, obviously, Hellboy's father in the Hellboy movies. So, yeah, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army is my number 5.
Hell yeah.
No, Hellboy.
Hellboy. All right. Number 4, released June 25th, 1982. This movie was a bomb when it came out. And I don't know. I don't get it because John Carpenter's The Thing is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like literally, budget 15 million. It made 19.9, which obviously wasn't going to be enough to recoup marketing and everything. But thankfully, it has since had. I don't want to say a resurgence, but I don't know. People with brains started reviewing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Just the cast, for instance, because when we before we got started, I said there. Oh, that's a talking point. I completely forgot that Wilford Brimley was in this. He's the diabetes guy.
Diabetes.
He plays Blair, and
Mm.
like Blair don't have no mustache like the diabetes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, I've got a tattoo of The Thing on me. It's of Kurt Russell's face, and then slowly morphing into The Thing.
Hell yeah.
Um, Kurt Russell is McCready. Keith David, always amazing in everything. He's Childs. Who else we got? T.K. Carter as Knowles. Like, the cast. And what is there to say about The Thing? There's a lot. Like, the score, first off, just John Carpenter's dum dum, dum dum. It,
Eerie
like, yeah,
as
just that
fuck.
lone, like, bass line. Like,
Mm.
it works because they are isolated. They are fucked.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're in Antarctica. And dealing with a monster that could perfectly replicate you, and then which one's which?
Yep.
And then just the fact that they're trusting each other towards the end because you could be the thing. I still every time I watch this because this is definitely I watch maybe once or twice a year every year. I'm still always looking for new like things, and the ending is so fucking iconic because it's like which one of them's the thing? Like, oh, there's a theory that like the thing's eyes don't shine in the light and child's don't, and so there's so many different perspectives you can take to watch this movie. And ultimately, the thing that makes it great is that it does not like say, "Oh, Childs is the thing" or "McCready's the thing." No, it's left for your interpretation, and only John Carpenter knows. And as much as I love John Carpenter, and I really truly, he's kind of an asshole because he knows he's like, no, it might lose a little bit of its muster if I tell people what's what. But so just converse amongst yourselves, and you can figure out and come to your own conclusions. And you may be right, but you're probably wrong.
Yeah. So he's gone on record saying that there is a definitive answer, but he won't say it.
Oh, he knows.
Okay, so
Yeah,
he knows who it is. He's
yeah,
not telling anyway. Okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
That is pretty cheeky, you little bastard.
And another thing, I don't know if it came out yet, but they're actually putting out a remaster of I believe the game came out in 2001 or 2002 for Xbox Play and PlayStation. They're putting out a remaster of that.
Nice.
So I'm gonna pick it up eventually if Diablo ever gets its claws out of me, and I'm gonna play through that shit again because that game was awesome.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, The Thing number 4.
Nice. My number 4, released July 18th, 2008. We're not going to go over box office and budgets and shit because we already talked about that with The Dark Knight. Derek pretty much said everything that needs to be said. It's just a phenomenal movie. I can put this on in the background while I'm doing whatever, and again, it's just a comfort movie for me. I've watched it countless times. But I can also just like put it on and sit there and watch every second of it, eyes glued to the TV. Like it's just so phenomenally well done. Like I don't even have words to describe how much love I have for this movie. Every single time I start it up and the whole bank robbery scene is going on, I don't know, I get fucking warm and fuzzy inside. It's just like it's just really good. It's just really good. Even knowing, what I know about the movie. I'll restrict myself from spoilers, even though it's been out since 2008. Come on, guys, figure it out. But yeah, Heath Ledger is the Joker. Rest in peace. He just did it. He did his thing, and yeah, I also hate the whole argument. Well, it's not fucking, it's not so and so, it's not so and so, and blah blah blah. And dude, just let him do it, man. He's phenomenal, and I think a majority of the world would agree, honestly, with the fact that Heath Ledger just did a fucking amazing job as Joker, and such a good, just just a damn good movie. I mean, I don't really have much else to say. One of my favorites for sure. Obviously, I wouldn't be putting it in this list if it wasn't. Yeah, that's my number 4, The Dark Knight.
Okay, I just now realized I forgot to show that. Okay, yeah, The Thing.
The Thing. I don't have
I don't
physical
know.
copies of mine because I'm lame, but
I don't like. There's been multiple videos where I have the props for the stuff, and I either forget to use it or I just outright afterward, fuck, I left it on the shelf. But now, hopefully, I'm gonna forget for number 2 though. Number 3, released July 3rd, 1991. One of the greatest action movies and just sequels of all time. Terminator 2,
nice.
Judgment Day. God, what do I need to say about Terminator 2? Arnold, awesome. Story, awesome. We're like I am in the camp. I fully believe that the Terminator franchise is the outlook for humans. Like 100%. We're gonna kill.
Especially the way that AI is advancing as fast as it is right now.
Yeah, we're it's
Jesus.
Judgment Day's coming.
Mm.
But one thing I will say that it doesn't pertain to the movie. I met Edward Furlong once. He's a dick. Okay, moving on. Um,
Fair enough.
in this movie, it deals with, like, obviously set years and years after the events of Terminator 1. I like Linda Hamilton's progression. She, in the first one, was a chick, couldn't even balance her own checkbook, but then she's locked up in, a psych ward because she tried to blow up a computer factory, and she is a fucking badass. I would say she's like number 1 on most badass females of all time, but somebody else holds that spot, which something tells me we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So her just progression from the first one to the second one, awesome. Them moving the Terminator from the bad guy in the first one to a good guy in the second one, just brilliant. That was a genius idea, because if it would have been Arnold Schwarzenegger as the bad guy again, it would have kind of lost a little bit of its luster. I should also say, directed by James Cameron, who, in my opinion, is one of the best directors ever of all time. If not, he might actually be my favorite director of all time.
Okay.
Just from some of his work. Trying my best not to mention any other ones. Robert Patrick as the T-1000 was absolutely awesome.
Yep.
I remember running around the house, like literally having this on VHS, and it hits the part where they break Sarah out, and he's chasing after the car, and the music, like just just running around the house, like just whipping fucking circles to the kitchen and the living room and dining stuff.
Hell yeah.
And Guns N' Roses is featured in this, so that is always a massive, massive plus. And they even did a music video for "You Could Be Mine," which had the Terminator showing up to a Guns N' Roses concert. So,
Hell yeah.
one of the best movies of all time. If you haven't seen any of our top 5, put that on your to-do list.
Yep.
Because, Jesus, some of these are just inexcusable if you haven't seen them.
Honestly, I only have one that I wouldn't. I mean, I would understand if people haven't seen it or it's not their cup of tea, but the rest of mine I feel like are just worth seeing in general. So far, I feel like your list is the same. Like, they're just worth watching for the sake of watching them.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they don't end up being your favorites, they're still like great movies and great influences in the film industry. So
Yeah. And I guess I should say, lastly, T2's CG still holds up to this day, and it still looks fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, number 3, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Hell yeah. My number three is a little bit different pacing than Terminator. But it was also released in July. But it was released July 20th, 2001. And it had a budget of $19.2 million. At the box office, it made $395.8 million. So I would say it's definitely a successful film. It has been claimed as one of the best films of the 21st century. And that is Spirited Away. Spirited Away. Even Hayao Miyazaki himself said the influence of Spirited Away can be easily observed in Disney productions like Brave and Frozen, thanks to John Lasseter's efforts to introduce it to the Western audiences, which says volumes and by itself about this movie. But I know that animation, especially in this style, is not everybody's cup of tea. But the fact that it was able to reach so many different types of people and so many people that just watch so many different types of movies and enjoy so many different types of movies says a lot. It is just a phenomenal film. It's a phenomenal animation. If you're wanting to get into animated films, especially 2D animation of any kind, this is a perfect starting spot because it just has everything. It's got tons of lovable characters. It's got so many different scenes that will just stick with you forever. Tons of characters that will just stick with you forever. And yeah, I've got my no face mask behind that alchemy hand right there. You can't really see it, but that's right there. And also I've got a little no face on a swing hanging on Black Phillip's ear right there. That's a little dot underneath his ear. Looks like an earring, but anyway, great movie. Everyone always says Howl's Moving Castle is the best Miyazaki or Studio Ghibli film. Everybody says Princess Mononoke. I would argue Spirited Away is easily the best Studio Ghibli film of all time, and I'll die on that hill. I'll die on that hill. Such a damn good movie. Watch it. That's my number 3, Spirited Away. Check it out.
Okay. All right. Number 2, released July 18th, 1986. I didn't realize this till after I recorded that Dark Knight video. It's like, oh shit, they have the same date.
Nice.
Aliens!
Nice.
From the quadrilogy or anthology, whatever.
Are you sure it's not Resurrection that's supposed to be in your list?
Don't even get me started with that dumb shit. I've already said what I said about that.
Check that video out, by the way. We did an Alien video. The Alien franchise.
And I'm referencing our just conversation with somebody. Anyways, James Cameron, once again, my number 3 and my number 2. This is why I consider James Cameron probably my favorite director of all time. And just the fact that James Cameron knows how to do a fucking sequel. I still haven't watched Avatar 2, by the way. But he knows how to just... Yeah, I know. Yeah. But he knows how to do a sequel and knows how to do it absolutely perfect. Whether it's changing the formula up just enough to make it fresh. So obviously the first Alien is a horror movie. The second one is more of an action. Like, he took inspiration from war and Vietnam and stuff like that, and then put that into this, and the universe just grew and blew up.
What went wrong with Avatar 2 then? Because it was so mid that I was like, how do you go from Avatar to Avatar 2?
Honestly, the first Avatar was mid. It was what was it? Dances with Wolves, except with blue people.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I still it's not that I hated the first Avatar. I've still just only watched it once. I saw it in theaters. The 3D was cool and stuff, especially back in 2009 or 10 when it. I think it came out late 2009. I didn't get around to seeing it until early 2010 or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But Sigourney Weaver, Ellen Ripley,
Who's also
just
an alien. Or
yeah,
Avatar, I mean.
yeah. She is literally the greatest female character of all time, and or like just heroine, I should say. And like when people like they shit, like for instance with the new Star Wars movies, everyone's like, "Oh man, you just don't like Rey because you don't like female characters." I fucking love Sarah Connor in the Terminator movies. I fucking love Ellen Ripley in the Aliens movies. So I don't know where people get off saying that. It's beyond stupid. Like legitimately, if Karen and I were to have a girl, I was pushing hard to name her either Ellen or Ripley. Like 100%. I like Ripley be a good name.
That'd be a solid name.
I stand by it. She's dumb, but yeah. Uh, No, and then
I
one
didn't
thing
say
that's
it.
awesome, one thing that's awesome about this movie is it got some kind of like re-release in like 91.
Hmm.
And I remember this specifically because I had to have eye surgery, so I was like blind for a couple days, and the only things I took into the hospital with like I was 3 at the time. I took my grumpy bear, which I still have,
Hell yeah.
and then I brought literally all of my aliens because I had them fucking all.
Hell yeah.
Ripley, Apone, Hicks, Drake, Vasquez, had all of them. Uh, yeah, I guess I could talk about some casting. Michael Biehn as Hicks was originally brought in to replace James Marr, Dexter's dad. He was originally Hicks, but James Cameron worked with him in Terminator, liked him, brought him in for this.
Hmm.
Oh God, Bill Paxton as Hudson. Just game over, man. Game over. One of the best lines ever. Paul Reiser as Burke. Lance Henriksen as Bishop. Like this movie's got action. It's got horror. It's got suspense. Like and the Queen battle. The Queen battle. Oh my God, so fucking good and intense. Just walks in. Oh, there's eggs everywhere. And then it just like it's I fucking love this movie. And sometimes there is some movement within my top 3 that I'll be all like, I know Aliens is my and it was that way for a while. The last couple years there hasn't been much movement. But I fucking love this movie. It's so good. It's paced well. I prefer the extended cut too, like and with Terminator 2 as well. You always go extended cut for literally damn near everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately,
but
there's
yeah,
a lot of movies that have. Actually, I'm going to be talking about one in my number 2. And we'll be talking about extended cuts again for my number 1 as well. But there was like in my number 2 sense, there's scenes that were cut from the film that if they wouldn't have cut it, it would have just probably been more successful anyway.
yeah,
And I know with like the Warcraft movie, for example, there was so much cut from it that that's where it lost a lot of the audience. But I've seen a lot of the cut footage in the like Steelbook special edition DVD that I have. If they would have added that fucking cut footage, it would have been better for it. And it just blows my mind that people would rather watch theatrical cuts than extended any day of the week, you know?
yeah. It makes no sense. People, well, people just have attention span nowadays that is measured in nanoseconds. So a lot of people, like I found out from one of my friends that like her daughter does not even watch movies. She'll watch like clips of movies on TikTok or what,
Yeah.
but she will not sit down and watch a full movie. And that makes absolutely no fucking sense to me whatsoever.
We
And
don't let Cora and Emmy like they have no tablet. They don't get our phones.
mhm.
Nothing like that. So TikTok is a foreign entity to them. And every night before bed, we wind down by watching a movie. And they're little still. So like 1 and 3, it's hard to get them to sit still for an hour and a half, of course. But
Yeah,
like when we're winding down for like the last 30 minutes in the night, we'll watch like 30 minutes of a movie, you know. And I'm hopefully, by the time they're a little bit older, we can sit down and watch a whole movie together, you know, and
yeah.
they will be content doing that. Because I remember when I was a little dude, I loved watching movies, dude. I loved
Oh
it
yeah,
in the theaters and otherwise. Like, I thought it was just a spectacle, you know. It's one of my favorite things to do. Hence why we have
Yeah.
this fucking podcast now. But like,
Like going to the theater was an event back in
yeah,
the day. And even, if my dad was sitting in the living room on a day off watching some like shitty, cheesy, dumb action sci-fi movie, I
hmm
was there. I'd watch the whole damn thing with him. I mean,
same.
some of those looking back on them, they should not even be considered films. They're so bad.
Yeah,
But still,
agreed.
but sit through and watch the whole damn thing.
Yep,
But Aliens number two.
nice. Very good movie. Very good movie. Okay, my number 2 was released July. What's up with the July release dates? Holy shit! Just realized that all of mine were released in July except for my number 1. That's wild.
Yeah, which was probably released in December at some point.
What makes you say that?
Because I have a pretty good memory of when certain movies come out.
Anyway, July 24th, 1985, it was released. However, it did not come to home media until 1997 due to the commercial failure that it was. And it had a $44 million budget. It only made $21.3 million at the box office. It was a massive flop. And 12 minutes of it were cut from the film because of the graphic nature of the scenes. Multiple scenes were also rewritten because of the same reasons. Also, this is another shout out to John Hurt. He voiced the Horned King in The Black Cauldron. This is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. I have watched it countless amount of times. I think I've seen it probably 3 times this year, which is honestly a pretty low number because sometimes I'll just have it playing in the background while I'm doing, like, making thumbnails or cleaning the house or whatever. I just have it on in the background. But it's easily a comfort movie for me if I'm feeling like shit or if I'm sick or if I'm like depressed or whatever. I'll just put this movie on and it just brings me joy. It just, like, it truly does just make me feel good, And since then, The Black Cauldron has had a little bit of a rebirth. People have kind of understood it a little bit more, and obviously we have a little bit more of an open-minded crowd watching movie these days than we did in the 80s when the graphic nature of those scenes would have been taken a little bit more offensively, especially by a Disney movie. But nowadays, it's highly well regarded from what I know. Anybody that I know that has seen it loved it or has enjoyed it to some degree, one way or another. Again, it's an animation, so I know that, like, especially our age, a lot of people in our age don't really get into animation as much as they did when they were kids. But I've got a huge nostalgia box, and this is like living rent free in that nostalgia box any day of the week. And I have no problem watching it. I'm getting a Horned King tattoo at some point. It's just a fun movie. It's a fun movie. It's a great adventure. It's got that old, like, 80s dark fantasy aesthetic, especially in the backdrops. That old school, like, Disney painted backdrops and shit are just phenomenal. That art style just always, like, it always gets me. Some, like, old Frank Frazetta, Larry Elmore type artwork. Yeah, good stuff. It just makes me feel good. I remember, like you said, you used to run around the house, like when from the Terminator, fucking just like getting pumped about it. I would do the same thing with just like reenacting Black Cauldron scenes with like a stick as my magic sword and shit, and it was just good stuff. What a fucking phenomenal movie. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. It's on Disney Plus now. They're not ashamed of it anymore, I guess. Because they realize that people are a little bit grown up now and can handle a little bit more of a darker aesthetic, even from Disney. But if you get a chance, go on YouTube and look up look up the deleted scene of the face melting. The guy that gets his face melted off and just like peeling off his skull and shit. It's pretty brutal. But they've got like still frames of it, and I think somebody had gone back and like edited it together so you can kind of see the scene how it was supposed to be. Pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. Especially for Disney. But, yeah, number 2, The Black Cauldron.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead, hit some honorable mentions real quick. I have got I've got 7 just listed down real quick.
I think I've got 8, so pretty close.
Enough. Let me get a stretch in. All right, there we go.
Yep.
So, honorable mentions. Return of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Tommy Boy.
Okay.
Die Hard.
Fair.
Terrifier 2.
Okay.
Dumb and Dumber.
Naturally.
RoboCop.
Okay.
And The Empire Strikes Back, which would technically be my number 6.
Really? Nice. Spoiler alert, I didn't have any Star Wars movies listed.
Empire's actually dropped. It used to be number 4 on my list, and then just my... Like, I'm serious. Rise of Skywalker killed Star Wars for me, so it has just gone down bad.
Yeah, we need to do a Star Wars episode or two. Because you and I have some similar opinions on some of the movies, but we also have some drastically different opinions on it as well, and those would make for some funny hot takes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, surprisingly, I did not list any Star Wars movies, and I know of 2 that I probably could have listed. We're not going to talk about those right now, though, because it might spark some fucking discussions that I don't want to have at this moment. Anyway, I've got Ratatouille, because it's a phenomenal movie. I've got Avengers Endgame. I've got Mulan. The Disney animated one, not the fucking live action one, obviously. I've got The Hateful Eight. I have Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, the first one. Fucking phenomenal movie through and through. In my opinion, like cinematically, and the way that it was made and produced and its legacy, probably one of the best films ever made. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's a masterpiece. Like it really
great.
is.
Yeah, so good. And I also have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, first one. I don't know what it is about the firsts, but I don't know. They just hold a deeper connection with me than some of the sequels that could also have been listed in these. Conan the Barbarian. And where did my other one go? Oh, here. Jumanji with Robin Williams, obviously.
It's bad that we've got a preface on that, because when you said Conan, I knew, but I was going to be, the Jason...
No. Jesus Christ, no. Fucking Conan with Arnold, obviously. Fuck that. I'm talking about Arnold, boy, from the 80s, man. I'm not none of that fucking Jason Momoa shit. And yes, Jumanji with Robin Williams is also one of the greatest films ever made. Like, it still holds the test of time, dude. I watched it a couple months ago, and I'm just like, dude, they just did everything right. They just did everything right in this fucking movie.
That's one of those just absolutely perfect kid movies.
Like, yeah,
and
it feels good.
I'm not saying like I won't, like I've obviously watched it since. It's like I love it, but I just remember being like on all the fucking time.
Oh yeah.
Whether it was daycare or just on TV at home, Jumanji was just on all the time, and it's so fucking good.
I have the VHS of Jumanji at my parents' house. I also have Mulan VHS. I'm pretty sure I've got Conan the Barbarian VHS, and I definitely have the Harry. No, I don't. I don't have the Harry Potter VHS, but I might. My mom might have that one at home.
I had Harry Potter on DVD. I can't remember.
I think the first 4 were released on VHS, and then the rest, or maybe the first 3 were VHS, and then after that they stopped doing VHS. But yeah, that's my honorable mentions.
Okay, so number 1, to cap everything off, this should not be a shocker to literally anybody, considering that this movie's main character is featured all sorts of up in my background. Number 1, Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm going to take a second to complain, though. Why the fuck have Friday the 13th and Halloween gotten, like, legit box sets, and then this is all we got for Nightmare on Elm Street? Like, I'm hoping that they do a 4K collection, like a 4K box set. Because I know they just put out the first one on 4K, which I haven't gotten yet because I'm holding out a box set and I don't want to buy it and then be like, oh, the box set's coming out now. And it's like, well, fuck, I just dropped $40 on that. So now I got to buy the box set, which is probably going to be like $150.
Right.
So I'm not on that. But this movie was released limitedly November 9th, 1984, and it had its nationwide theatrical release today, November 16th, 1984. So
Nice.
today is the legit, I guess you could say there's two 40th anniversaries, and I'm glad we caught one of them.
Hell yeah.
Uh, okay, Wes Craven. Uh, when he does movies good, he does them amazing. Wes Craven has some bad fucking movies. Like, let's we're not gonna act like he doesn't.
Yeah.
My soul to take anybody. Um, Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. I've met him. I loved him to death. He was awesome. Got pictures with him, and just Freddy's my favorite horror icon of all time. Like, that's why when we did our top 5 horror icons, we had to make the stipulation that aren't Michael, Jason, or Freddy.
Yep.
Uh,
Got to take the big
Freddy,
three out.
yeah, because Jason probably wouldn't have made it in. Michael would have been low. Freddy would have been number 1 for me. So, had to eliminate that. Heather Langenkamp played Nancy Thompson, and she is without a doubt my favorite final girl of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that, and even if you look at it through that time, like, girl, oh my God, we've got to run, or like, oh shit, what? No, Nancy legit is like, okay, all right, you're fuck with, all right, I'm gonna fucking booby trap the fuck out of my house, and I'm gonna walk you through everything. So it wasn't just like, no, get off me. No, she was legitimately fighting, and she had just, I don't know, some kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Some instinct that was different. It's like, okay, we gotta fucking throw down now. Okay, we're gonna do this.
She actually used her brains. She actually thought about the situation at hand, even though it was convoluted and stretched out and fucked up and shit. And obviously, no one would realistically know how to, act in that scenario. But she, at the very least, used her fucking brain, unlike anybody in a fucking Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Or
even
half the characters in the Halloween franchise. Like,
I will even say Jamie Lee Curtis from the first Halloween when getting phone. It's like, oh, stop messing around. Yeah, you guys are real funny having sex and stuff. Whatever. It's like
nobody makes those noises during sex.
Yeah, if they're making those noises,
it's probably not consensual.
Yeah, not at all.
So, like, come on. But no, I agree with you. Easily my favorite final girl as well. Like,
yeah. And Johnny Depp, his first role. So we have Wes Craven to thank for Pirates of the Caribbean in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Also, random fun fact: I got engaged in front of the Nightmare on Elm Street house when we went out to California.
Hell
that was
yeah.
before. Yeah, that was before asshole people bought the house and like put up fencing. Like, we didn't go in the yard or anything. Like, I went past the shrubs and stuff, but they've set it up now. Like, they've got gates and stuff up, so you can't, like, you gotta like fucking get like this high to get a picture of the fucking house. And it was not that way back in 2017. So fucking shit. Yeah, so first off, fucking shame on you for buying like a legit, like, just a piece of horror history. And, people going in your yard and stuff, they shouldn't be doing that, but still, you're just a fucking asshole. And they even changed the door from red to black, which I know in the first one it's blue, but the house takes on, in the second one, it gets the red door and then is absolute, just iconic. Amanda Wyss is Tina. Just a great red herring to start the movie off because you're like, oh, she's gonna be the main. Okay. And, oh no, she is not. She got the fuck killed out of her. And I love this fucking movie. I don't know what to say. Like you were saying, comfort movies. When something bad happened last week and I was having a hard time sleeping, The first thing that I put on was Nightmare on Elm Street to help make me feel better.
Hell yeah.
Kind of didn't work, but at least I got to watch Nightmare on Elm Street for literally like probably the 10,000th time because I've seen this movie so many fucking times. I bought them all on VHS, bought them all on DVD twice because I bought them individually for those sweet cases, and then I bought the box set with the even sweeter fucking case. Bought the Blu-ray set that, like I just already said, is very just leaves so much more to be wanted.
Yeah, I like most of my list came down to, especially my number 5 came down to watch the amount of times I've watched it. Like, yes, I've watched all these honorable mentions a lot, but I know for a fact that I've probably seen Hellboy 2 more. Like that's what most of my list came down to was, okay, let's be real. I could look cooler if I put Conan the Barbarian instead of Hellboy 2, but let's be realistic here. I've probably watched Hellboy 2 a landslide more than I have Conan the Barbarian and so forth. Same with my number 1. My number 1 was honestly a no-brainer, but at the same time, like, I've watched this movie more than I've seen probably any other movie in my life.
The only thing I'm wondering is which one it is.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, I got a guess in mind. But okay, Nightmare on Elm Street, number 1 favorite movie of all time, and we'll be that way.
It is a banger. It is a banger for sure. Certified hood classic for sure. All right, my number 1 has won countless awards. Its budget was like, I did not write that down, but oh yeah, I did. 18.2. No, I didn't. I didn't write that down. This is what it made box office, I'm pretty sure. $18.2 million in the US. $11.5 million in 13 countries. 47.2 million opening weekend. And a total grossed worldwide of $887.2 million. It was released December 2001. It had multiple release dates, but I just put December 2001 because I
know which one it is. Yeah.
Pretty sure all of them were released. All the release dates for this one were in December, and it is, of course, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
That was my guess.
Such a fucking awesome movie, dude. I still, to this day, like, can watch this with brand new eyes. Every single time I watch it, it feels good. I have no issue whatsoever with watching it for the billionth time. Never in a million years could anybody ever ask me, hey, do you want to watch The Lord of the Rings? Fellowship of the Ring? And I'm like, nah, not feeling it. Because I'm always feeling it, okay? I'm always feeling The Lord of the Rings. Especially the Fellowship. But any of them could do. However, this one's just, it's just warm, cozy, fuzzy for the first, like, third of the movie, first third and a half of the movie, give or take. But it ramps up. Obviously, we've got multiple fight scenes that are just super fun. Action-packed scenes, the fucking troll in Moria. Of course, we've got the Balrog. We got the famous "You Shall Not Pass" from Gandalf. We've got Lost. We've got the Fellowship forming and splitting, all in the same movie. The Uruk-hai battle with Aragorn at the very end, where he just completely caps some motherfuckers like it's nothing. Of course, we've got the famous Boromir scene and his immensely amazing character arc that's just like fucking beautiful. Where he goes from selfish and trying to take the ring for his own gain and for his father's gain and shit, but it's because it's corrupting him, and he finally realizes this at the end and fucking saves Merry and Pippin, blah, blah, blah. It's just such a damn good movie, and Peter Jackson just absolutely annihilated this role as the director of this film. He just absolutely killed this shit in the best of ways. And yeah, casting couldn't have been better. Writing couldn't have been better. The cinematography couldn't have been better. I mean, it is easily a 10 out of 10, if not an 11 out of 10 for me. And yeah, I mean, obviously I can say this is one of those that you could Google one of the highest, grossing movies of all time. It's probably in that list, but also personally for me, it is just it's damn good. It's like The Black Cauldron is the movie that got kind of kick-started me into the fantasy genre, and The Lord of the Rings is the more mature version of that kind of fantasy, even though The Black Cauldron's a little bit more high fantasy, whereas The Lord of the Rings kind of tones that back down. There's not like a lot of visible magic, it's not like visible fireballs shooting out of people's hands and the fucking rainbow swords glowing with all this fucking energy and shit. But it's still the same type, medieval fantasy of sorts. And yeah. Also, we can just talk about the fact that it was a fucking book adaptation, which usually goes piss poor in most cases. This case obviously was an exception for all three of the movies, because I think you could probably ask anybody that's seen these movies and enjoys them. They would agree that all three of the movies were just very well done. But yeah, just a fucking awesome movie, man. Awesome movie, awesome trilogy. And that is why it is my number one. That's why it's my number one.
Yeah, and Lord of the Rings is awesome. I remember seeing all of them. Or wait, actually.
Obviously, I've got my Lord of the Rings there, and nice.
This was originally going to be my wedding ring, but it was too big.
I'm pretty sure I've already shown these. If I haven't shown them on here, I've shown them on my On Thin Ice podcast. But VHS, double VHS, because this is a hefty fucking movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, my grandma had these, and when she passed away, I was like, I'm gonna grab these from you.
Oh hell yeah! No, I still remember seeing Return of the King midnight showing my junior year of high school, and just like, oh my.
Yeah.
Got out of the theater at 4 a.m. and I was like, yeah, I gotta be at school at 8. I
Dude,
didn't go, but
I was too young at that point to go to theaters without my parents like being right there with me, so I wouldn't have gone to any midnight showings. But I did see the first Lord of the Rings in theaters twice, and I seen the second one twice in theaters, and I'm pretty sure I seen Return of the King 3 times in theaters. So collectively, this franchise I've seen more in theaters than I've seen any other franchise, like ratio. Obviously I've seen all the MCU movies minus like a handful of them in theaters. So, but I'm pretty sure I don't think I've seen any of the MCU movies in theaters more than once. So,
yeah, those. It sounds bad, but those ones are all one and done. I mean, I'll watch them like Ray and stuff, but yeah, like I there hasn't been an MCU movie like even Infinity War or Endgame where I was like, oh god, I gotta go see that again immediately. Like, no,
yeah,
I don't. Who's got time for that nowadays? I mean, fucking come on.
I'll still go back through and watch my MCU watch through. With skipping all the ones I don't want to watch, of course, because I'm an adult and I can do that. But yeah. I never had any desire to go back to the theater and watch any of the MCU movies like I did with The Lord of the Rings, for example. But yeah, if The Black Cauldron was released in theaters when I was able to go to theaters, dude, I would have watched that fucker in theaters tons of times.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I've actually only seen one of my 5 in theaters, and that's Dark Knight. Because the other ones came out before I was born, and yeah, my parents weren't going to take me to see Terminator 2 in theaters.
That's fair. Anyway, let us know down in the comments below which one of our lists did you like the most? Or just comment your top 5. What are your top 5 favorite movies of all time? Let us know down in the comments below. Let us know why they're your top 5 as well. Make it detailed. Give us something to read, you know? While we're taking a shit, or if we're on a long car ride, or yeah, hit us up. Hit us up with your top 5s, man. And yeah, make sure you like the video. If you liked it, make sure you hit the sub button if you want to see anything else like this, or anything else we've got on the channel. We've got tons of stuff on here. Make sure you dig through our catalog of stuff. I'm sure we've got something for everybody on here. And make sure you stay tuned for our next big top 5, which is the top 5 albums of 2024, which I believe we'll have 2 special guests for this year. One of them, of course, you've already met. Toby will be returning, of course, as he always does, for our top 5 albums of the year. And I've got a very special guest that I have brought up on this channel multiple times in our top 5 albums of the 2000s series that we did. He's responsible for getting me into a lot of music, a lot of different bands. I owe him, credit for showing me, and it'll be a very special episode indeed, because he's agreed to jump in on this with us this year, and what a year to do it too, because we've had some fucking bangers popping out this year. So anyway, we'll see you next time. Happy birthday from the Crypt. Peace.